Hello everyone, it's time for the textual part of a literature reader, New Broadway. Question number one from the part understand, he was very much admired. This is the one line that is taken from the text and some questions have been framed from this line. We have to answer those questions. Question number one from this line, why was this statue admired? The statue of the Happy Prince was much admired because it was very beautiful as it had two sapphires for each eye, a large red ruby studded on his sword hilt and was gilded over with thin leaves of the fine gold. So means all the shiny things were there with the jewels and the sparkling gold. That's why this statue looked very beautiful and it was admired by everyone. Question number two, what did the admirers say in its praise? One of the town councillors say that it was as beautiful as a weathercock. A mother gave example of Happy Prince that he never cried for anything, and the children said that the Happy Prince looked like an angel. So if we see that this statue of Happy Prince was admired by each and every age group of that kingdom because it was having the beautiful appearance as well as the beautiful personality manner. Question number two from this part, who are you? He said, I'm the Happy Prince. Why are you weeping then? Asked the swallow. You have quite drenched me. These are the lines taken from the text. Question number one from these lines, what reasons did the Happy Prince give for weeping? The answer is Happy Prince said that when he had died, people had set him up so high as a statue that he could see all the ugliness of the city. He could not help but could only weep, and that's why he was weeping. Next question, was he always sad? Pick out examples from the story in support of your answer. The answer is no, the Happy Prince wasn't always sad. He lived in a palace of Sans-Souci. There he used to play and dance with his companion. There was a lofty wall around the garden. Because of that, Prince remained unaware about the real bird's sufferings. So here the prince lavish lifestyle has been given that before his death he used to live a very comfortable life without having any worries. Question number three again, the lines from the text. Dear Prince, said the swallow, I cannot do that. And he began to weep. First question from these lines, what did the prince ask the swallow to do and why? The answer is the prince asked the swallow to pluck out the sapphire from one of his eyes and take it to the poor playwright. The young playwright was very poor and hungry, and that's why to remove his sufferings, Prince asked Swallow to take out one of his sapphires from the eyes. Next question, why did the swallow weep? The swallow wept because he felt sad to pluck out the sapphire as Happy Prince's eyes were made of it. Next question, did the swallow obey the statue's instruction? Why? Yes, the swallow agreed to take the sapphire to the young man who was poor, cold and hungry. So at one side, swallow was very sad because he did not want to pluck Happy Prince sapphires because they worked as his eyes, but at the other side he could not deny the order of the prince because his intention was very right. He actually wanted to help the young writer. Question number four, as he no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful, said the arch professor at the university. From these lines, first question is, why was the prince no longer beautiful to look at? The answer is the prince was no longer beautiful to look at because the ruby had fallen out of his sword, his eyes were gone and he wasn't golden anymore. Means all the things that were enhancing the beauty of the statue, they were not there, the sapphires, the ruby and the gold shiny leaves, and that's why the statue looked very ugly. Next question, what did they do to the statue? The townspeople pulled down the statue, then they melted the statue in a furnace. The statue was made up of metal, so it can be easily melted in the furnace, and they did the same thing, they melted or destroyed the statue. Question number five, pick out three instances from the story to show that the swallow and the prince really cared for each other. Three instances means incidents. So first is swallow wept because he felt sad to pluck out the sapphire as prince's eyes were made up of them. Next is swallow decided to stay back another night to help the prince because prince was sad. And the third instant, When Swallow fell down dead at Prince's feet, a crack sounded inside the statue. It was the prince's leaden heart that had snapped into two. So these three were the main incident that can be described very important or as a very vital in the story. In question number 6, some instances or lines from the chapter has been given. We have to change or arrange the sequence of those lines. So here the first thing that will come, that is option number E. The swallow alighted just between the feet of the happy prince for the night. Second thing is option number B. The swallow picked out the ruby from the sword hilt and gave it to the seamstress. Third instance is the swallow plucked out the prince's eye and flew away to the student's garret. That is option number A. Then option number 4 is sentence number D. The swallow plucked out the other eye and gave it to the little match girl. And at last option number C will come. The swallow picked out the leaf after leaf of his fine gold and gave it to the poor. Number 7 from the part infer, what does the phrase golden bedroom refer to? Do you think it is an apt description? The answer is the swallow took shelter in between the happy prince's feet. Since the statue of the prince was gilded all over with thin leaves of fine gold, the swallow refers to its resting place as the golden bedroom. So yes, it is an apt description. So if we see, the swallow was very lucky that he was having the golden bedroom. We all are living in the concrete bedroom, right? Question number 8, it is curious, he remarked, but I feel quite warm now, although it is so cold. That is because of you have done a good action, said the prince. First question from these lines is, what is the good action that is referred to here? The answer is the swallow had flown to the boy who was tossing on bed. The bird laid the ruby on the table beside the woman's thimble and then fanned the boy's forehead, which was referred to as the good action. So after completing this good deed, swallow himself was feeling very happy and very satisfied. So it shows that whenever you are helping anyone without any selfishness, then you yourself feel the real happiness inside your heart. Next question from these lines, do you think the act is good one? Why do you think so? Yes, the act is good one. The prince told about the miserable condition of the seamstress and her son. Hence, when the happy prince asked the swallow to take ruby from his sword hilt, he followed his instructions. So swallow was himself aware that in fact happy prince wanted to help the poor people of the town. That's why he became ready to pluck out the ruby from his sword. Here the word warm referred the feeling happy and comfortable. Do you agree? Yes, the word warm means feeling happy and comfortable here. See here, warm is not used for the season, warm season, because it was the winter season going on. The warm means the happiness, the satisfaction, a kind of peace that swallow was feeling, and that's why he was too comfortable and happy after completing that good deed. Question number 9, when he hears about the poverty and sufferings of the people of the town, what does the prince ask the swallow to do? What does this tell us about the prince? The answer is, when the swallow flew over the city and told the prince about the sufferings of the people, prince asked him to take off leaf by leaf and told him to give them to the poor. This tells us that the happy prince had a kind heart, because now happy prince was left with no sapphires, no ruby, no other precious stones were there. He was left all over the gold leaves because the complete statue was covered with them, and that's why he told that start taking off leaf by leaf so that you can help as many as the poor people of the town as you could do. Bring me the two most precious things in the city, said God to one of his angels. And the angel brought him the leaden heart and the dead bird. You have rightly chosen, said God. Question number 1 from these lines, why did angel chosen the leaden heart and the dead bird? The answer is, both happy prince and swallow had helped the poor and hungry people of the town and sacrificed their lives doing that. This is why the angel chose the leaden heart and the dead bird. Next question, do you agree that the angel had chosen rightly? Give reasons. Yes, the angel had chosen rightly because both happy prince and swallow helped the needy people till their last breath, and God always loves those people who live for others. Question number 11. Do you think the prince was selfish in asking the swallow to stay back, even though he knew that the winter was dangerous for the swallow? Discuss your opinion in groups. See, the answer can be very here. I have presented one model answer. You can go through that. The answer is yes, it was selfish for the prince to ask the swallow to stay back, but the prince had greater and noble plans to help the people. The swallow had a good heart and the prince couldn't help, so prince's action was not entirely selfish. Means if you want to do good for number of the peoples, and in that big cause, if you have to sacrifice a little thing or a little one or your closed one, you should never hesitate, because you are just going on the path of goodness. Number 12 is from the part Reflect. Though the title of the story is The Happy Prince, the story describes the feeling of a sad prince who weeps over the miseries of his people. The story has a sad ending too. In the context of the story, explain the significance of the title. Here we have to tell that is this title apt or accurate for the story, according to the story, or not? The answer is The Prince is a sad story which talks about the kindness shown by the happy prince and the swallow. The prince was happy when he lived inside the palace and didn't know anything about the real bird. But when his statue was erected after his death, so he could see the miseries of the people, so he planned to help them with the help of the swallow. So the title is significant according to the pleasant personality of the prince. Question number 13. When the swallow decided that he would stay with the prince and not go to Egypt, he knew that he was putting his own life in danger. In groups of three, discuss and list the possible reasons for the swallow's decision. Some might say that the swallow was being foolish in choosing not to fly on. Some might say that the swallow was doing the right thing. What do you think? Give a reason for your answer. The possible answer is given here. You can change according to your understanding and preference about the story. The swallow decided to stay back because he saw what the kind prince was trying to do for the poor. Even though it was dangerous for swallow because it was winter, but he decided to help the prince. So once you have decided for any good cause, then you don't even think about putting your own life in danger, because you know that you are ultimately going on the path of the noble cause. Question number 1 from the part extension is an activity that should be done in the class. So go through the question and do according to that. Last question from the part extension. As he is no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful. This statement shows that people value only appearances, and when things get shabby and worn out, they are thrown away even though they might be useful. Do you think this is right? Discuss in groups. Again, this question is based on your understanding and individual preferences, so you can vary your answer from the given one. The answer is no, I don't think it is right. Appearance is God-given and moreover temporary. One day everyone has to face this ugliness, but it is still useful in many aspects. The irony of this materialistic word that people ditches one another even after knowing that they also have to pass through this stage. And this is the biggest truth of this earth, that everybody know that one day they have to just pass through this stage. Even then they are just following the same thing which will ultimately give them pain. So with this we have completed the complete textual part of this chapter. I'll meet you with the next video with the next chapter. Till then, take care of you. Thank you.